So you finally got over the stigma of the Miata being a hairdresser's car, either because you drove someone's and you fell in love,
you know, how is it better than like a WRX or something? Well, it's better than everything.
or you saw a build you really liked and want to know everything about this fun little roadster. In this video I'll go over everything you need to look for and know about the NA Miata before buying one. So first off, we're going to talk about the different models. There was the 1.6 and the 1.8. The 1.6 ran from 90 to 93 and the 1.8 ran from 1994 to 97. The 1.6 had 116 horsepower and came straight out of the Mazda 323. At the top trim of the 323 they had the GTX turbo all-wheel drive. So if you're ever thinking about turboing this car, the engine can handle it. On the other hand though, the 1.8 is also a great engine to turbocharge, but if you want a little bit more horsepower from the factory, the 1.8 has around 130 horsepower.
It's just a damn great car.
An easy way to tell the difference between the 1.6 and the 1.8, if you're just opening up the hood while you're inspecting it, is that the 1.6 will have engraved letters, while the 1.8 will have the letters raised off the valve cover. One of the most notorious problems you should look out for is if you're looking at a 1.6, make sure to look at that crank pulley and see if it's a long or short nose crankshaft. On the first year in 1990, they had the short nose crankshaft, which if removed and installed incorrectly, it could damage the crankshaft and you would have to get a whole new engine. If you do remove it and install it correctly, you won't have this problem, but if you're less mechanically inclined like me,
strange looks on their faces,
and make sure to look for the long nose crankshaft, which is from 91 to the end of the NA Miata. How you can tell the difference is on the crank pulley. If you see 4 holes, that's a short nose, and if it has 8 holes on the crank pulley, it is a long nose. All 90s and some 91s don't have a trunk release in the center console. This could be good or bad depending on what you like. I kind of like it because if I stop for a little bit and the top is down, no one can get in my trunk unless they have that key. Now in the later models, they all had it. It wasn't like an option or anything. So if you find anything 92 and plus, they'll all have a trunk release in the center console. If you want a fun roadster, but you also care a little bit about your passenger safety, make sure to get a 1.8. The 1.8 has a passenger airbag while the 1.6 didn't. And because of it not having that airbag and a couple other things, the 1.6 does weigh a little bit less. One other thing to note is that the 1.6 does have a weaker diff. So if you're planning on tracking it hard, look for an 1.8. The last thing that I want to talk about that's the difference between the years is that the 94 is the only year that still has OBD1 but also has the 1.8. What a true unicorn. So now we'll talk about all the rare OEM parts you can get for this car. These parts will be a great add-on to the Miata, and if you can find a Miata with these parts for a reasonable price, you will get a better deal because of how much these parts go for nowadays. The number one part you should look for that will add significant value to the Miata you're looking at buying is a hardtop. These used to go for around $800 a couple years ago. Now they're going for around $2,000. So if you can find one with the hardtop and say the price is equivalent to one without, that is a major steal. On top of the hardtop, another thing that you should be looking for is the BBS wheels. They're absolutely beautiful wheels and they go for around $1,000 right now. I personally want these on my Miata over any aftermarket wheel, but they're pretty hard to come by. I think that's not too expensive right now, but does add a little touch to the interior is a Nardi shift knob and a Nardi steering wheel. These aren't too expensive right now. You can find the shift knob for around $100. Another OEM part that adds a lot to this car is a Torsen rear diff. These didn't come in a lot of the Miatas. So if you find one with a Torsen diff, you're really lucky. Most Miatas either came with the open diff or a viscous limited slip. The viscous limited slip is kind of known for just blowing up at random times without warning. So the Torsen diff is the way to go. The last OEM part that's super rare that I look for is R package items. Either the spoiler that came on the R package or the front chin. Both of those are really rare, and if you do find one with that, that's a really cool find. What's great about the Miata is the aftermarket scene for this car. There's so many different parts for this car and so many different swaps you could do. You could swap anything from a Elephant motor to a K motor to even a rotary if you wanted to. So if you're looking for a car that you can mod to the moon and back, this is the one for you. A great way to look for these cars is just start looking in garages. A lot of older people that have lived in the same house for a while have kept these things in a garage, and sometimes they have really low mileage, like the one that I found. It had 45,000 miles on it and he didn't know what he had, so I was able to pick it up for $3K, which is an amazing deal in 2022. I've already found another one that's an M edition that I'm about to buy for another deal if it goes through. And the way I found both of these is just looking through garages, looking for cars that have been sitting in there for a while, and then asking them how much they'll sell them for. Now to talk about the killer of all cars, rust. The main places you want to look is around the windshield, the base of the firewall, and just like the MR2 video I made last week, check the drain holes for the convertible top. Those sometimes get clogged up and they can leave water sitting, causing rust at the bottom of the rear quarter panels. So when you're looking for your Miata, these are the top 5 rarest colors you could get. Number 5 is going to be the 1996 M edition. This is a Montego blue. Only 2,968 of these were made. In simpler terms, it looks like a dark blue, but it's a really nice color. Next, we have the 1992 Sunburst yellow. Only 1,519 of these were made. This is a color I would get if I was looking for a Miata because you just don't see too many yellow cars nowadays. Next on the list is the 1993 LE. This is the black paint with a red interior. Only 1,505 of these were made. What I would do, I would take the Sunburst yellow color, slap that red interior in there, and make it a McDonald's car. That's one of a kind right there. The second rarest color that you can get is the 1997 STO. This color kind of reminds me of the Montego blue, but it's just a little darker, and it will kind of even look like black in the shade. The rarest color by far is the 1994 and 1995 Laguna blue and tan interior. In 94 they made only 344 of these, and in 95 they made 122. On top of that, earlier I was talking about the R package, which ran from 94 to 97. In 1994 they only made 1,218 of them. In 95 they only made 465. In 96 they only made 111, and in 1997 they made 47. So if you get an R package, it's truly a rare car. And I saved the best for last. The number 1 tip for buying a Miata is buy a manual. Do not be special and buy an automatic.
I'm retarded.
If you do get an automatic, it just takes away half the experience of driving a Miata, and you'll definitely regret it in the future. So hope you guys did enjoy another one of these buyer's guides. I really do enjoy making these, so if you want to save yourself the time, comment down below a car you'd like me to do the research on, and I'll make a video just like this for the car that you want. Make sure to join the Discord down below, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.